Welcome to the Note Nuggets podcast, where you can learn how to become the bank, build wealth, and accumulate streams of income perfect for your savings or IRAs. You'll hear from industry experts, seasoned veterans, and everyday investors. Our goal is to teach you how to invest in notes, one nugget of knowledge at a time. Here's your host, Kevin Galang.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Note Nuggets podcast, where you learn how to turn other people's debt into income for your savings or IRA. Whether it's investing, personal development, career development, fitness, or sports, a common theme high performers preach about are mindset and mentors. Mindset deserves its own episode, so we'll reserve that topic for another Note Nugget. That leaves us with mentorship. Mentorship is common not only in real estate, but in professional and personal areas of life. Sometimes mentors are called different things, like a coach or a trainer, but the idea of mentorship is the same. I've had a mentor for quite some time, and it's been extremely helpful. When I was on the fence about paying for mentorship, I thought about how the top performers that I know in my professional life and the uber successful people that I admire all have mentors that they pay for. There are tremendous benefits to having a mentor. One of those benefits is knowing which mistakes to avoid because your mentor has already made them. While I believe in the power of mentorship, I'll also be the first to recognize that it's not for everyone. Some people naturally gravitate towards doing things on their own and figuring things out as they go. There is nothing wrong with that either. Whatever empowers you to be the best version of yourself is what is important. I will say that there are a lot of scammy gurus out there, and some of which are portraying themselves as coaches or mentors. So you really have to watch out when it comes to deciding who you want to mentor you, which is why I love this week's Note Nugget, because our guest breaks down what really makes up a good note mentor. Before we learn about our guest, don't forget to leave the Note Nuggets podcast a review on Apple Podcasts so that we can reach and connect with more people who want to leverage the power of note investing. Of course, I would love a 5-star review, but anything that you feel the podcast deserves is 100% appreciated. Now let's learn about our guest. Mr. Franz has been an entrepreneur for over 20 years and has participated in many successful ventures. He has an extensive background involving investor acquisition and retention, sales and marketing, and negotiating and raising capital. Mr. Franz has 19 years of experience as a home remodeling contractor, where he was a contributor to over $25 million in home remodeling projects in Southern California. Just over 3 years ago, Mr. Franz turned his attention to note investing full-time and has since created strong relationships with fund managers, private investors, and industry experts. Patrick has been a speaker and panelist at many different conferences, including Noteworthy, Fire Up Live, Private Lending Masters, and more. Patrick has also become a highly sought-after guest on many real estate investing podcasts and virtual panels. TheNoteMentor.com is your website. What makes a good note mentor?
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I created the Note Mentor so that people could find me who want to learn about note investing, since notes changed my life. You kind of know my backstory, but a good mentor, somebody that actually is available for you, right? A true mentor spends time with you physically and in person. Maybe somebody that can guide you and hold your hand through processes where they've been down the road before and it's your first time trekking down it. Might be dangerous grounds for you, but might be common ground for somebody else. And so that's all that makes a good mentor, right? We all played sports in our backgrounds, and gosh, I would have never been a really good springboard diver like I was if I wouldn't have had a springboard diving coach who sat there and reamed me all day long and made sure I didn't do anything stupid and I learned properly. So yes, good hands-on coach, I think.
Yeah, I think that as a note investor, you can do it on your own. It's going to be harder, I would say. But if you think about, like you said, athletes, the top tier athletes, even the top CEOs have coaches, right? That it's people that are looking to be better and learn from the mistakes of others and get a different perspective. So I think a good mentor is absolutely key and can really help launch your career if you want to be serious in this space.
What's awesome about the note space itself too is that there's a lot of experienced people that act as mentors, and some of which are, of course, known for charging great amount of money for their coaching courses, and they offer great value. And a lot of other people that are just trying to help other people, right? There's people now with YouTube channels and Facebook groups and all sorts of stuff out there for people that there's just a lot of what I'm getting to is there's a lot of good mentors out there in the space, which is really cool about the note investing world.
I agree with you 100%. So speaking of the dark side of mentors, I've been in the space a few years now, and without fail, there's red flags about these fake gurus, and I'll get a YouTube ad, come get rich quick scheme or something like that. But in your opinion, what would you say are some red flags that people should kind of avoid when they're looking at a potential mentor?
Goodness, if somebody is looking to sell you some sort of a course, and this is my opinion, I think everybody's out there hustling and doing what they need to do for themselves, but no bash against people selling expensive courses. I just think that if someone is going to sell a course, no matter how much it costs to be on it, if someone's going to sell a course to someone else and yet never be available for them, that screams a little bit to me that it's just trying to make a sale so that you'll buy the course. Because even if you bought someone's course, it's pretty fair to say that throughout taking their course, just like in sitting in a classroom with a teacher, you're going to have questions. Well, in a classroom with a teacher, as we've all been to school, you can raise your hand and be polite about it. The teacher will come over and you can say, hey, I don't get this, help. And the difference, I think, there between sort of what they call the gurus of the world or get that classification, everybody's teaching good information. It's all good. But somebody that sells a course and then just leaves you to the wolves, to me is, I don't know if I agree with that too much. I really think that if somebody has questions, if you're selling a course, hey, if somebody has questions about your course, be available. You're the one that created it.
Right.
And so be available to answer questions and again, guide them. People need guidance, not just instruction, right?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
That's my take on it anyways, but.
Yeah. It's all good points, because if that mentor was truly invested in you, they would be there for you. And I agree. If you find a mentor, you may have to pay. That's them adding value to you, and expect that. But that's going to go so far as what you're investing in. If you look at it, it's like an investment in yourself with the mentor. But if somebody's not going to be willing to be available for you, then I would tread a little bit lightly. And for me personally, I asked around when I was looking for my mentor, hey, what do you think of this person? Right? Asking other investors, and they're going to be honest with you from my perspective as to what their experience is. And honestly, do some research. There's Google, Google is a powerful thing. And there are some gurus out there who have some, how do I put this nicely, some things going against them when you search for them. So it's do your due diligence on a property. You should do your due diligence on an investment like a mentor. Yeah. Whenever there's money involved in anything, there's going to be good people and bad people in that space. We know that. And, you got to be able to decipher the good from the bad. But yeah, vetting your mentor. Sure. Absolutely. Don't just go for any ad that pops up and somebody trying to say, hey, buy my amazing course and you'll be rich in seconds, trust me, that kind of thing. And that might be a red flag there, but. And what else is goofy? Because this is back in the day, when some of us were young entrepreneurs. I'm 41 now, but in my late teens, early 20s and stuff like that, and getting into like the Tony Robbins sort of James Ray kind of, if anybody remembers him, sort of motivational stuff and going to conferences and all that. And what another thing was that I didn't like when I was growing up is that you could pay good money for some sort of a course with some sort of a great mentorship program. And gosh, I got great value out of it. But boy, you're hoping if you paid for Tony Robbins' course, you might even be able to talk to Tony Robbins, the master at some point. And of course, there's layers of assistants and assistant coaches and stuff that were layers down. And the guy who you really wanted to talk to, of course, you probably weren't going to get on the phone with for the price you paid, at least. And so, again, I think sometimes that can be disappointing for some folks too, where they kind of get sold on something where they think it's going to be more fantastic than it ends up being. And the disappointment factor of paying for coaching and a mentor is kind of lame. Yeah, I totally hear you 100%. It can be, you got to tread lightly and vet like we were talking about. And that is what makes a good note mentor. The beautiful thing about this note nugget is that it applies to finding a mentor for every investing niche and even finding a mentor in other areas of your life. To learn more from the note mentor himself, head over to notenuggets.com/note-mentor. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Note Nuggets podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get access to additional weekly value nuggets and get notified with episode updates. To subscribe, all you have to do is head over to subscribe.notenuggets.com. If you have any questions about this episode or note investing, book a time on Kevin's calendar at contact.notenuggets.com. We'll see you next week with another note nugget to add to your tool belt.